we have this notion of value equals experience over frequency. So the value of any experience is direct proportion to the frequency of that event. So by limiting, we only do live content, and we try to create something special out of it. So we also set out to look at what was happening in the real world, so to speak, that people were finding value, and that's the live show, and what was happening online where people really were engaging, and sort of we try to put together this intimacy of like chatting with each other, which people were doing online, and bringing the two together.
Through all of this economic and technological disruption, communication is very key. Artists really have to look at this from a marketing and business perspective and know what your consumers are, who they are, and not just demographics, it's psychographics.
You can't just be a recording artist anymore. It's a total 360 experience in order to be successful. The merch side is really big now, and you're
it's the brand.
And it means you got to work that much harder.
You are a brand.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel like we need to suffer through challenges of people stealing our work, monetizing it, and then not compensating us for it. And I really have a great respect for people who defend their copyrights. I had a conversation. I was walking through the halls with John Sebastian a number of years ago, and we were actually headed to Sonny Bono's office when Sonny was still in office and alive, and we were talking about copyright. And I said, how do you protect your copyright? How do you do that? He said, I treat it like a strainer.
And it wasn't even until the 1980s that creators were in a position to start pushing for rights to own copyright on anything. It's about going on eBay and seeing people sell T-shirts with my paintings on them. In Indonesia. Do they even know who I am in Indonesia? I don't know. Apparently they do. There are people selling paintings of mine in Russia, print on demand. I can't stop these people, but I'm not getting any benefits from this. I made a public statement about piracy back in November.
The real challenge for us, for artists, who are, after all, kind of isolated people, we work as individuals scattered across the country. The challenge for us is to find a way to come together and to get a grip on our secondary marketing, on our secondary rights, and find a way to market that in ways that we control the content.
However, and I know it gets to be a touchy subject here, we're going to have to band together to really define what copyright is going to be in the future, because without that, all of our revenue, all of our money sources come from Section 105, Section 106, and on down. We have to get ahead of it, and we have to band together.
The consumer now has a huge voice. It has affected brands. It has affected countries. And, the communication triangle has been flipped on its head. And by the communication triangle, I simply mean that there used to be a few people talking and everyone was listening, and now we're all talking and very few people are listening. And in the music industry, it has directly affected an industry that's gone from hundreds of artists making millions of dollars to millions of artists making hundreds of dollars. Nowadays, the fan has the ultimate power, and are discovering people. So when you're a talented illustrator or photographer or an artist, you are now competing against other people that are popping up all over the world that can go directly to these people, and you need to, the challenge is now on us to explain why we are worth $10 for our time.
I think it's very fundamental that we find some way to preserve the basic principle behind copyright, which is that we each have a right to the work that we create ourselves. Because if we lose that right in the name of the public interest, we're going to lose a basic human right that's been hard fought for and dearly maintained for centuries. And then we'll have to fight for it from the start all over again.
You cannot monetize that which you cannot exclusivitize.